Please talk about tokenized woolly mammoths on the Cardano chain. So I reached out to Ben Lamb, and he's partnered with George Church. They just announced their project, and hopefully we'll find a way if we can do something together. Very early days, we got to get NDAs in place and all these other things, and there's a lot to discuss. But that's a very personal partnership for me because there's, woolly mammoth is a nice stunt, but really what you're talking about is the whole concept of de-extinction. The reality is, because of the way that we are conducting ourselves, we're burning the planet out. And every day, a lot of species go extinct. So if you can take an animal and pick a nice symbol like the woolly mammoth, because we've never seen one in person before, and it's part of the prehistoric history of humanity, and you can resurrect that animal, then what you've done is you've proved out an entire chain of technology that will enable de-extinction of any species that you have DNA for. It advances artificial womb technology, godsend to women whose reproductive organs have been damaged, or older women where it might be a little dangerous to have children. They can use that technology to do it with all the gene editing technology, bringing back the woolly mammoth has. And it's a godsend to all kinds of genetic experimentation that can be done. So it's a phenomenal company when you look at the bioethics, the science, and what it can do for environmental considerations. And there's a lot of incredibly passionate people there. Now, where that can meet our industries, we can create all kinds of new business models to make that more viable venture. For example, one of the ways you could fund a business like that is a lease system for mammoths to zoos. China leases out their pandas. They make a lot of money every year from that. You could basically create a system where you have 50 slots, whatever zoos want them. They agree to the bioethics of it, the habitat requirements of it, and they can buy out year by year a lease system, and it's an auction system, and highest bidder wins. Create price discovery and end up making hundreds of millions every year doing that, which that funding would then go to in creating larger herds that have great utility for global warming, and ultimately improving the technology for all de-extinction. All those mechanics can be beta tested and experimented with in a matter of weeks to months on a smart contract system and don't require any permission to use. So this is the kind of intersections that can be used. The same for NFTs, the same for fractionalized ownership, all kinds of things that you can do. And, it's very early days, who knows? There are other people connected with that. But, I just want to show I have moral support to it. And that's why we reached out. And hopefully we can figure out something in the coming months or years that makes sense. But one thing that's undeniable, if it's not us, it'll be someone else in the industry. And if that can be done, it'll probably mean that project has an enormous amount of non-dilutive capital at its disposal to be able to exercise such a mission. And that's a collective achievement for humanity. It's not a company's achievement. It's like going to the moon. Yes, it's America's achievement. Our flag is sitting on there, but that's a human achievement in many respects. It's something every human being gets to say, our species has stepped on a different planetoid, on a moon. We've left Earth to the extent that we went to another heavenly body. If we bring back the woolly mammoth, then we know as a species, we have the capacity to resurrect the dead in a certain respect. If you can get DNA out of one of these mummies that's in Egypt or other places, you literally can bring them back with this technology. If we could find Alexander the Great's body, we can bring him back. Same for Genghis Khan or other people if we can get a good enough DNA sample. That's a pretty incredible thing to participate in as a species. And then there's questions about the ethics of it. There's questions about the intellectual property considerations. There's questions about whether this should be a public technology or a private technology, or who should be the custodian of these things. And what happens when you have designer babies or other such things. A venture like this invites that kind of 21st century conversation and thought, which is sure as hell a lot more important than what is the tax rate